Welcome to Real Talk Savannah. Today is an end of the year episode. I have Missy on. We are going into the new year and changing things up a lot, actually. Real Talk Savannah was initially done to be a resource, which it still will be, for prospective real estate clients or anyone moving here to understand the market as a whole, whether it's for dating, and it's still going to be that. However, I really wanted to bring in Missy because I think she's the yin to my yang. She has an events podcast, which I will let her talk about, and we're going to merge those. Still keeping our social media separate because I think it'll be easier with talking about events and up and coming events in Savannah. It'll be easier to go to her page than to try to navigate through, Real Talk Savannah where we're talking about a lot of different topics.
Yeah.
So you can get to the event, the up and coming event, the current events of Savannah, and find it faster. But she's gonna be my co-host, and I'm very excited about it. It's just a perfect marriage, I think.
Definitely.
To what we have going on already.
And I feel like you have really good updates about like what's going on in Savannah and like the community. And then with my events, I started the podcast Sav Social 912 just because I kept on hearing about cool things happening in Savannah after they've happened.
Yes, always. We're like, oh, we didn't even know about that.
Yes.
Even things at the end market. Sometimes we're like, oh, because, it's just that we're getting so much data thrown at us online. It's easy no matter what to miss out. So at least we'd like to have like one central page where we will do our best to let you know all up and coming events way prior.
We're a work in progress.
We're a work in progress,
not professionals.
But it's also like those coming onto the podcast. If you have an event coming up, we do need time because recording the podcast or even getting us to mention, we need time to edit it and get it out there
around and get it up.
Right.
I agree. And typically, like if you can give like 2 to 3 weeks advancement on your event and coming to us and doing an interview, most of the time we can turn it around.
Right.
In time. But an interesting thing with Sav Social, like I was saying, I was kind of just focusing on like finding cool events in town that like me and my friends would want to go to, not so much like maybe family oriented or like stuff that's not in downtown. But what I was finding was like the podcast started as me just like reading a list of events. But then as I kept doing it, people who were hosting the events started reaching out and wanted to get an interview. And I found that like hearing them talk about it and the passion behind it and their mission or cause definitely gave better context and like made people want to go more than just seeing a flyer. So I will say for people who are looking for things to do or to become a part of the community of Savannah, I would definitely take advantage of the events that you see that are floating around on social media or on Facebook, and also follow people. There's a lot of great resources. A few that come to mind are like the Long Weekender. I feel like she's really become like a heavy hitter in Savannah on like cool and up and coming things. Like she always knows about cool stuff before it happens, which is very impressive. And then there's like Booping Around Savannah, Samantha in Savannah. There's all sorts of influencers who are kind of honing in on the events that are happening.
Yeah, so. And you can kind of find like what fits your liking, like what's your vibe with each of them. And we're just going to kind of put it all out there. And try things ourselves. I love to hang out with Missy, so it's easy for us to go see, new places, new things, which would be more real talk when we're talking about a new establishment where hers is more events.
Yes.
And then if the establishment has an event,
like a grand opening or something.
Yeah. Something going on, community, like an actual event, the events page. So working together is going to be great. I'm still honing in and studying the market. Right now, I have some new commercial clients that are small business owners, which is it's not only what I specialize in, it's what I'm passionate about because I am a small business owner. I have a storefront in Drayton Tower, Beat Tan. It's 12 years old. And I started that from scratch myself with no financial backing. And I had to get creative on how to grow and how to find a space that I could afford as a single mother. And so I am really passionate about the little guys just starting out. And I think sometimes, actually I know in commercial real estate, it's easier for a broker, an agent in the commercial section to want to lean into only working with someone more established. It's faster, easier, it pays better. So if you've ever noticed, like when you're driving down specifically some of the busier streets, like Broughton, Liberty, Oglethorpe Bay, River, and there's a sign on a window and you have a business idea, or you know someone who's wanting to put a business here. I mean, the list goes on and on. I've worked with several clients, and you do not get a call back. Just know you're calling the listing broker for that owner landlord. So they are representing them. You need your own representation. Also, you need a callback. You need some guidance. So that if you're a small business and you're looking for something, it's hard. Inventory is low here. So what this podcast is going to do by bringing Missy into it, it's going to show events and things and happenings which help you get more creative when you're starting a business, because these people who are usually having these events are either a part of some nonprofit involved in the music world, or a small business that's getting creative to get people in the door to attract customers. So that's why, this is such a good marriage for a podcast, because I can be very resourceful and open someone's eyes who's just stuck on Broughton Bay or River, or,
those four streets have a lot going on, but there's so many other cool parts of Savannah that are established.
Also, it could help an investor, know what's happening before it's happening. Also, if you're in the residential world and you want a residential broker, I have tons I can referral out. I have now decided I will no longer do residential. I'm just going to refer that out to those that I know that specialize in the neighborhood that the person may be in. But what's really cool is what this ripple effect is it will let you know what's going on in an area, what's up and coming, what businesses plan to be there, what events are going on. We were even talking about getting into some of the stuff that's going in at the ports, the new-ish, the yacht thing where they work on yachts. I forget the name of it.
How they do that by the ports.
Yeah, like we're going to do more research on things that aren't really talked about. Like the ports aren't really fun, but it really is good to understand what's going on in your city. And what will happen is being a resource for all things will help you know if you have a business idea, if you're looking to move, if you're looking to sell, help you live in the city a little better, but also have fun.
Yeah. And I think Michelle, throughout your other podcasts with Beat-Tan and Real Talk Savannah, you've become a really good resource for these things. And I hope that as this show continues to grow, people will want to look to you and reach out to you for guidance, or use you as a resource for that.
And just like Anna that we had on, who she's now up and running. She finally got through all of her permits. So congrats, Anna.
I also think a good benefit to working with you on real estate stuff, especially commercial, is that you've built your business from the ground up.
Oh, yeah.
And you've run into the bottlenecks that the city offers. The city of Savannah works as best they can to get businesses up and running. But there's definitely
But it can be very confusing, and there's a lot of disconnects. So
there's a lot of you get passed around from department to department. So I think once again, you're a great resource for streamlining a lot of that.
Right.
Or just being able to give
and
people
I don't
advice.
mind doing the consulting and guiding. I don't just give them a number to call. I give them specific things. I help them through the business plan, because I've had to do that myself. Like with Anna, she did a lot of the legwork herself, but that's why we had her. One of the big reasons we had Anna with Pure Blend on was because we did not find her a space. She had to end up renting a kitchen, which is what works out better for her. Now, in the real estate world, most real estate agents probably would have been a bit discouraged after helping someone and then, them ending up not even renting a commercial space. This is what worked best for my client. And yes, I don't charge a consulting fee. I get paid when the deal is done, when the lease is signed, which is what I enjoy doing. Right. I would have sat down and she's a lovely human. It was fun. One of my new clients is a brand new business. So we've done the business plan. I've connected her with all of my resources at the SBA, resources with the city, different grants and stuff. I've helped her through her financials. We have to report financials to the landlord. The LOI, we've gone through how I even helped her with getting her LLC, deciding she's never opened a business in Georgia. So helping her decide on whether it's LLC or S Corp, because I've done this, been there, done that, and logo, business plan, entire thing. We've met for coffee, and that part's fun for me. So we probably won't even get into a space until after Q1 at the beginning of the year. Yeah. But I've been working with her for a couple of months now. So it's not, you need the guidance, but the biggest thing is she was looking in a whole different area of Savannah. She didn't know about this little pocket that's a perfect fit for her concept.
Yes.
So that is that's what Missy's not so much into real estate, but our marriage with this podcast is going to be so beneficial because you can actually know what's going on in these areas that you're thinking of moving, opening a business, or really just looking for a new group to hang out or meet new friends.
Yes. And I think, you started out with a vision of this being about like informative real estate.
It's
Stuff
evolved.
that's happening in Savannah. But I like where the direction that this is going into, where the vision now is to kind of just make it about Savannah. And I think that like the educational parts about real estate are kind of important no matter what you're doing in this city. Like I've lived here 15 years. I'm just getting to a point where I'm starting to think about buying, and I'm really glad that I have a resource like you that can, like, even though I'd be looking for residential,
but
you've
still,
been there, done that,
and I have a whole team that work with me at Austin Hill. And what I like about Austin Hill is they're not competitive with each other underneath that branch. That they referral out when someone specializes in a certain area, or condos, or Ardsley Park, or the Landings, or Wilmington Island. We have someone who knows, and it's important because like in Wilmington Island, you have to know flood zone. So it's really important to be matched up with the right realtor who's done a lot of business in that area. So I am always a resource and can referral out. And the thing is when I referral out, I check in.
Yeah.
And if you have you need a second opinion, you can always call me, no matter who I end up referring you out to for residential. But I want to put you in good hands.
Definitely.
Not just try to get the deal myself.
And I think, you were born and raised here. I've been here almost 15 years. There's so many parts to the city. Like, you may think you know Savannah, but then...
And it's changing. It's ever changing.
Completely surprise you.
There are a lot of things that stay the same. But which I love, we've got the Historical Society that protects a lot of our homes and buildings and our architecture, which I love that we have that protection. But we also have a lot of evolution. We have a lot of change. And so we want to be a resource for you guys. Missy's really into history, so she's going to do a lot of deep diving in different parts of the city and history, even way over to Southside. We always just think that like the historic downtown. Yeah. But there's a lot of history in Savannah and a lot of new beginnings that need to be tied together to kind of navigate what's happening in Savannah as a whole. Like we're working with Nick Palumbo to keep the progress on the Tied to Town project.
And I think a personal mission for me, like joining you on Real Talk, is just to connect people in the city. I think like I love when Alderman Nick Palumbo comes on, because
his energy is so great.
His energy is good, and the way that he's explaining like what's going on in the play-by-play, I think, is really helpful. Like an example, I did a story on the horse carriage tours, and I saw that Nick went
It's
viral.
so controversial.
Yeah, because someone threw a bucket of water on him. So I was like, hey, what's going on with that? Do you want to talk about it? And he was like, there's actually a vote happening in 2 days. If we can talk and I can just clarify what we're voting on, because like the whole city was in an uproar thinking we were canceling carriage tours altogether. But the whole vote was just lowering the heat
index to protect the horses so they aren't in excessive heat. Yeah. And I know there's a lot of controversy around it, but I think you were just coming up. It wasn't like we're against it, we're for it. It was like, here are the facts. You can still have your opinion. You can still vote what you want to vote. But this particular vote was just on the temperature.
Exactly. But there was so many, like they sensationalized it so quickly. I mean, I give Nick, I give him a lot of
patience
because,
and
like,
grace.
In the comments, I felt like they were trying to drag him, but he's not the issue. The issue is the safety of these animals and like how our city is running. I think we're just trying to make sure that the animals and the people who are running the businesses are safe. That's it.
Yes.
So anyway, I'm not advocating for any side or whatever, but another thing, take the gossip that you hear with a grain of salt. And like, I was finding people were commenting about that episode, and I kept responding saying, did you actually watch the full episode? Because we're not talking about what you're commenting on is different than what the issue is.
Which an equally terrible issue, or like an issue, is people behind screens that aren't getting the full, who are putting things out there without understanding the full context of anything. Like this isn't any subject. So, unfortunately, us being in the world of social media and putting ourselves out there, it's a lot to do it because you never know how someone's going to perceive it, what narrative that they will create in their head from it. But we just want to put out factual, not as much controversial as, just facts. Like, this is what's happening.
We want to spread awareness. We want people to be informed about what's going on in the city. I would also just love for people to feel comfortable. Like, if you see a guest on the show and they're talking about, something passionate to them or, an event happening.
Let's be Southerners and give them some damn grace.
Yeah, but if you see them out in the wild, I want you to be able to go up to them and feel like you can talk to them. It's like if we can connect our community and we all get more familiar with each other.
And a lot of times, we won't have anybody on here unless they're doing something for the greater good.
Yeah.
We really want to get in with some of the city officials. I think they get a lot of heat. And if we could just understand the process better, we could work together better. So that's really what the podcast is.
I think that's the tone that we're going for. It's not trying to be controversial.
Because there's just some things you can't change. There's some history in Savannah that makes it wonderful. There's some history in Savannah that makes it wackadoodle. Yeah. But that's also the charm here. It's what makes this city what it is, and it's why a lot of us love it.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to magnify.
I think that's the real talk here.
Yes, exactly.
We don't want to just be giving you fluff pieces or.
Also, we're two single girls. We own our own business. We have a huge group of single girls. One thing that I really, and I'm haven't done this, and I've been saying I was going to do it for a while, but I'm really trying to understand our market in the dating world. But let me tell you, I have friends all over the country and out and in other countries, and dating is hard. So I'm not really sure that I'm ready to get on here and talk about it because, I'm leaning towards my ladies, and I just feel like the other side isn't showing up very well. So I don't know that it's even appropriate for me to come on here because I'll sound like a man basher. But
yes.
So we've talked about, I want to come at it with a factual thing, but I think the nitty gritty of it is what we're finding is that women communicate way differently than we used to. We're showing up stronger and more masculine, but it's not making sense.
I think the biggest thing is, as far as what we're capable of offering is, I don't think you can fix dating.
I can't.
No matter how much
and I'm
and
I feel like it's not even going to help. It's not even going to help. It's not going to help anything to even talk about it. I do want to pull up numbers on how many single women versus single men. We are trying to do some research to understand the demographic, the money. I think the salaries made here.
All we can really offer is facts, insights, but also opportunities to go to events and meet people. I think the biggest thing is just putting yourself in a spot where you can potentially meet someone new. Which
is what we're good at. We have a solid group of women. We've had people come in and out the circle who were going through changes in their life, divorces, breakups, businesses failing, children leaving, retire. We have girlfriends of all ages and in different parts of life all together. And what I think what we want to do the most is have a safe place, but also a fun network.
Yeah.
So that when you're having those moments where you're lonely or confused or whatever, you just have a solid support system. And that's all we can offer. And sometimes it's just us laughing about our terrible dates for the month. But women need women. There's a Jane Fonda saying where it's that's what makes us women so beautiful is that we have these strong, our friendships are deeper and different.
I think too, everybody is looking for community in some way. And
absolutely.
I've lived in a lot of other cities and I keep on moving back to Savannah over the years. And I think you can't beat the community here. I feel like it's the right size where if you go out and meet, people around and you become a regular, it really changes the entire experience of living in Savannah. And there's a lot of people who have just moved here and they're I don't know where to go. I don't know how to make friends. I think a huge gateway into getting what you want is showing up and going to events. So.
Yes. And every time we have an event, we've had 3 events at the new Beat Tan location. Everyone has been packed out. And there's been a couple women at each event that were oh, wow, everybody's so nice. You have a great group of women. And yes, I do. I have a great group of women. They're kind. None of them knew each other, and we all ended up closing up from the events and meeting elsewhere because we were having that much fun where we wanted to keep it going. And each of the women could have not been more different.
Yeah, but that's
of different
nice
age,
part.
different.
The versatility
everything.
here.
Everything was so different. So, that's what we're trying to do, with this podcast, have events where, you can figure out what's going on and find something to do with your vibe, but you can also understand changes being made, the history here.
Yeah. Or maybe you move to Savannah and you're like, I'm not meeting anybody. Well, maybe it's because you live on the south side and it's not walkable and there's not opportunities to meet people. Maybe you need to consider living in Starland or downtown. The other thing is downtown Savannah is so much bigger than River Street, Bay Street, Broughton, Liberty. There's so much more to the city than just like the initial streets of downtown. Yeah.
And I like it when people get creative and do things in these little pocket neighborhoods.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple of things there. So that's what me and Missy want to do, is just, sometimes you live downtown like me and you live in your building and you want to do something outside of your realm. You want to try something new. So, we're here to cover all of that.
I think the coolest thing too is living in Savannah and just understanding how far it's come. And like, as I've worked with you on both your podcasts, talking to people in Savannah, like I think about Trina, who runs the Rail, and like I never knew that the Rail was a furniture store.
Yeah, we never would have known that before.
I never knew your friend Harley, who owns Social Club, that was just a billiards hall or something.
It was a private club that turned into a club. Like that's why it's called the Social Club, because that was it was that's why it says 2008, because it was a group of guys that met and played pool.
Yeah.
I think it was on Tuesdays.
And it's crazy to think about how Social Club has become like a staple in Savannah.
Yeah, it's a major staple.
There's nothing going on downtown. Everybody kind of like diverts to Social Club.
You see those one of the biggest marketing things that they did was they sold sweatshirts at cost, like whatever they paid for them. They just wanted to get their money back. So you can get a really cheap Social Club hoodie. I think it's like under 30.
Yeah.
$30 or $40.
They're so cool. They're very like iconic.
Yeah. And they're you see people all over wearing Social Club hoodies, and it's because they made them affordable, but it's genius marketing. So
yeah.
And since then, like there's Social Club, then he opened Sorry Charlie's, and he's got.
They just had a huge event with Pepsi.
Yes,
like
they
their
did.
Block party was amazing. I wasn't there personally, but I saw all the posts about it.
Yeah, I was out of town, so I'm sorry I missed this year. But they do block parties at least a couple times a year. But this was a big one for them. And then they opened up Bowl and Brew, which is mini
cool.
bowling. What do you call it?
Duck pin bowling.
Duck pin,
yeah.
Duck ball.
Duck pin bowling.
Duck pin bowling. Whatever. It's a little ball and it's cute.
Yeah.
But what's cool is he has tons of music events in there, and it's arcadey too. So like during the day, it's really great for kids, and then at night, it's really fun for adults, which we need stuff for kids to do, because when kids come into Savannah, they're like, it's just a bunch of bars. It's really hard.
Yeah, it is hard to plan a trip around like family-friendly things, but I hope that this podcast can be a resource for that. And I also hope this podcast can be a resource for people who are like to go out on the weekends and are looking for things to do, because there's so many hidden gems in Savannah, every day of the week. Like I think about on Mondays, Totally Awesome Bar has free pool, and that's become like a huge meetup on Mondays, especially for service people who work all weekend. And
then there's some old hidden gems that have been forgotten about. Like I frequent Sixpence regularly.
Yeah,
I love
you've made that like the new spot.
Well, it's a good winter spot. It's cozy. You get this. They're very friendly. They're very old school with the way that they serve you. Like the bartender remembers your name. It's just very cozy and friendly. We have evolved in the service industry since when I did it for 12 years. You sometimes walk into a place and it's not as friendly and cozy, because I think people are going through the motions of life. They're in school, they're this, they come in to do a job, and we've lost, what's the word I'm looking for?
Community, camaraderie.
Just the service part of it. Like that's the reason it's called the service industry. You serve, and it doesn't mean anyone's above you. Now, we did read a book a while back, and there is some weird subconscious history behind like how people were treated in the service industry. They were put below. So I get the history of it, but somewhere along the line, we've missed like the actual kindness part of it, and the greeting and the checking up. Like we all know we've felt like this in the retail world, like
there's just no like passion and heart in it. Some people
there's not a good warm welcome. You're shocked. You're so happy when you got a warm welcome or a follow up.
There's nothing worse than going into a bar. There's one bar I won't name the name of, but
we'll never name names. But
we'll name names if it's a good thing. But there's a bar I go into that's like in the downtown area. And I feel like every time I go up to the bartender and ask for a drink, and they're like annoyed that I ordered a drink.
Yes.
Even though it's their job.
Dude, there's
to
an
serve
owner.
You a drink.
There's
like, that's crazy.
I've been to a place where there's an owner who is annoyed that you're there. And I'm like, dude, I'm
sorry, do you want my money or not? Do you want me to tell my friends to come here or not?
And I really appreciate when someone's kind. I really, really do. But it's not just one bar. There's quite a few where you're like walk in, and maybe because we're in the touristy district and they don't get a lot of the same faces. Yeah. So it's just, for serve your drink, whatever, because they are getting so much turnover with faces.
I think also there's such a different experience being like a visitor and a tourist in Savannah versus being a local.
Absolutely. I used to work at Kevin Barry's, which was nothing but tourists, and it is a different but there are different
ways to have fun. And maybe as we like continue to talk, we can kind of unpack, if you're coming here for a bridal party, here are places we would recommend you going. If you're coming in with your kids and family.
Like where we got our coffee today, the empanada place. Yeah. They could not be more friendly.
Where we got our lunch yesterday at Frawley Gourmet, where I told you they do no marketing.
No marketing.
It was hidden secret.
It's a hidden secret, but they're always full. Like one time I went, one time I went and I couldn't get in. I put my name on the list, and then I was like, we were pushed for time. And so it was Fallon and I, and we left, and the owner texted Missy to say that the table to come back, but we were already sitting at Publix.
I know.
Or something.
I was like out of town and got a text being like, "Tell your friends I have a table."
They are so sweet there, and you missed that. Crystal Beer Parlor, which recently had the fire.
Yeah, kitchen fire.
But there, I always get treated so well every single time. And Garibaldi, Charlie, Steven.
Yeah, Circa.
Circa, yes,
Chris,
we get treated like. So we love to go in these places where where we see familiar faces. We sit down, we can catch up on life. We feel that way. If you go somewhere and you're alone having a drink, you feel comfortable. And when I was in the service industry, that's what I wanted people to feel like.
I agree, and I think Savannah was not necessarily a place where like I felt like I could go places alone and feel comfortable like at nighttime. But I definitely think like the community makes such a big difference. And I think of like all the amazing bartenders that are in town. Like Savannah is one city where like you could actually have a career being a bartender.
Absolutely.
And people respect it and people love it.
Some of them are working crazy hours, and sometimes you get the bar patron who doesn't know what they want. They've got 12 people deep, and you're not always going to get the most friendliest bartender, because if they're 12 deep, like you just are in go mode. But it is a city where you can really have a career as a bartender, but it is an exhausting career. I mean, it's a lot of hours, a lot of people pleasing. So I get when
I don't want to say being a bartender is like being a celebrity in town, but there are just like some very notable people that like even if they're not working at the same bar like 6 months later, there's someone new. People will follow to get drinks from that person.
Absolutely. And I've seen bartenders go from bartenders to bar owners and succeed. And, that's really fun to watch when you see someone grow in that way and then opening up multiple bars. That's really fun to watch. It really is.
And I'm hearing whispers that Congress Street is kind of going through a big evolution as well. Like there's a lot of new places that are opening up.
There's the jazz bar.
The jazz
across
bar.
from Charlie's.
Honky Tonk is going to be opening, which is the old Molly
Chris's,
and then
what's Allure?
Allure is going to turn into like a speakeasy and some sort of like nighttime like lounge bar, like a high-end cocktail bar.
Which is so funny because way back in the day, the Rail was the only bar on Congress Street, and we all went to River Street and Bay Street when Bay Street's so dangerous.
Yes, and
with the trucks.
Something I love to do in Savannah is my friends and I love to sing karaoke. I've subjected you to my karaoke a lot. We cannot sing, but we can put on a show.
We perform.
But what I'm finding is like there's a great community of people who love to do that, and
they go to the Rail, McDonough's, and Rogue Water is Rogue Water.
Because you don't have to wait a lot, and the DJs are really nice. But like there's like we said, Rogue Water, the Rail, totally awesome bar. McDonough's, which is like an iconic staple. Bay Street Blues, which like I don't really go there as much,
but that's a big staple. A lot of people, a lot of people love that place.
So like what I didn't know is that you could change your venue performing karaoke. So, but
Yeah.
you'll run into the same people because they like doing
They
that
love
too.
doing karaoke. And we've got some really talented karaokeers. Is that a word? Out here.
Karaokeers.
I went Saturday. So Saturday at Beat 10, quarterly, we're going to be hosting a birthday party for little girls where we pick a child in need.
Oh
So
my
we
God,
have
that's
people.
so cute.
Yeah. So we did one Saturday. A little girl's aunt who had adopted her submitted her. We couldn't help but pick her just because of her story. So we hosted a party. We had karaoke. That's what reminded me.
So cool.
We had a fog machine, bubble machine. All they had to do was bring the food and the cake. We supplied everything else: balloons, plates. We did glam strands, which I have in my hair now. And instead of spray tanning, I sprayed glitter. So we called it
That's
a glitter
so
bomb. It was
cute.
called the Princess Party. And then Ginger, who works in Beat 10 with blush, she owns blush. She did hair and makeup, like princess style, like
that's so
kid-friendly
sweet.
makeup. And we did this whole birthday party. But we're going to start doing that at Beat 10, just hosting charity events and things like that.
Yes.
So,
and there's a lot of charity events. Like as we do more episodes, we'll unpack
we want to
that
get
more.
into that.
But one that I'm going to note is the Sips by the Station. It happens like every one Tuesday a month at Ardsley Station. And basically I think it's sponsored by the Savannah Master Calendar, like Marianne Popo Genham. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, Marianne. Love you. But they host and sponsor it, and every month there's a different charity or different cause.
That's awesome.
That people
Which we
are
really want to
reading about.
bring light to that, to anything that's going on. I love to do things with the shelter. I'm working to get with the shelter for the runaway kid, the runaway shelter, and there's another one that's for children,
safe
place
Yeah.
for girls in high school. It's tricky because they are very protected, but we want to host an event where we can supply them with clothes, but we set up Beat 10 as like a shop so they feel like they're shopping, not rummaging through. We want to set it up where they can try stuff on and feel like they're shopping. And then like when prom season, Beth gave me the idea, Beth Vantosh, because she did one for prom. And I'm like, dude, I want to do something like this at my new space. So,
yeah. But doesn't that feel like a good use of your time and effort?
The space that I'm in with Beat 10 now is my dream space. It took me 12 years to get here. Let's talk about starting from scratch. But now that I have my dream space, I brought in two others, just like I was taken in, which is, where my passion lies with commercial real estate. I had great women in my life, Emily, Mary Liz, Amanda with her salon, women who invited me into their space. I could rent the back of it affordably. I could collab with them and grow my business. And now here I am in my dream space. So at my space, I want to invite others in, which is Alexia with Glam Strands and Ginger, who does a few things. She does the RF, which is like radio frequency skin. It's awesome. It like builds collagen, and she does hair and makeup. So it's such a good, it's all
a little hub.
A little hub. It's a service, but it's a good way for me to give someone a little boost to get them going. And it makes them, there's signs on the door, on the window, just like it's their space. I want to share my space, but then also I want to have my space when we're not using it for some, to give back to the community like I did with the little girl, or what I'd like to do with the shelter.
Yes. And something helpful I learned when I was shooting Sav Social, I did an interview with Harry Gardner. He's basically a part of like the Savannah like Veterans Council. Sorry, Harry, I'm not explaining what your backing is.
We're just freeballing this episode. So
I will say, like, I had such an awesome interview with Harry. What we were talking about was he and the Veterans Council decided to put on a fashion show for veterans at Redgate Farm. Morgan Ray and a few other vendors were a part of that.
She does the best.
Amazing.
Morgan Ray is such a philanthropist. She's so great.
Just to finish this up, Harry was a really great resource. I was asking him about volunteering and where you can go in Savannah to give back. So if you are sitting at home thinking about how you want to put your efforts into giving back to the community, especially with the holidays, hit up Harry Gardner. He's a really good resource for that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so these are things that this was a lot to cover today. Yeah. We covered a lot, but we're ending the year. This is our last episode of the year. We're merging. We will get a lot of clips out of this.
Yeah. I feel very amped up talking about
this
now. I want to go like save the city or something.
Right. Like we really, both of us are passionate about it. We both do a lot of things too. So bear with us, but we're excited to merge, and sometimes it'll be Missy hosting, sometimes it'll be just me hosting, and sometimes it'll be both of us.
Yeah, us talking.
But we're here, we're here to work together to let you know what all is going on in Savannah and surrounding. We enjoy heading out to Pooler. Pooler's got a lot of growth, a lot of change.
Some really fun
and even
things
going
happening, too.
further than that, like Bloomingdale's even growing. So there's a lot of things to cover with the growth in Savannah, but we also love it here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of amazing people, and like this community is unlike any other thing I've experienced. And I hope that anybody else who's living in Savannah can look at it through the lens that we have. It takes some time, but I feel like once you understand the city and get to know the people.
We really, both of us did our podcast and our social media pages with the podcast separately. We didn't really expect the traction that it's gotten. So we have to roll with it. This, people are loving it, and why not work together with what we both are passionate and specialize in, and have a really good podcast.
The episodes may be very different week by week, but I feel like the main topic is hopefully you walk away learning something new about your city.
Exactly. So thank you, and we will see you next year.
Yeah, happy 2026.
2026. Let's go.
Yay.
The year of the horse.